Hey guys, I'm back, and today for the deep dive, we're going to talk about Minn-Erva. She kind of fits the theme. She's blue colored. We're diving into the ocean. It all comes together right here. Minn-Erva is actually a really interesting character to talk about because she was really good. Like, Minn-Erva came out when the Captain Marvel movie came out. So, like, I don't know, what was that? It was like a year or so in the Marvel Strike Force, if that. And she was the best character in the game for like years. I mean, for almost as long as I was playing it before I quit originally. I mean, of course there were characters like Dormammu or Ultron at the time who were like the legendary characters that were better than her. But in terms of like normal characters that you could just get, Minn-Erva was like top of the line. She was incredible. She's fallen off in the modern day. I think we'll talk about that. I think mostly it comes down to there's a delicate balance with Minn-Erva. Her kit's really interesting. She does a lot of stuff with percentage health, which is really cool. So you can't make her too strong because then, I mean, she could tear through anything because it's percentage based damage. So like Dark Dimension 7, you could send her in, she could clear the node. You know, if we said, hey, she should deal 50% of max health, like that would be more than what it does right now. You know, like they can't do that because then you'd go into Dark Dimension 7 and clear the wave in 2 turns with Minn-Erva, essentially. So there's kind of a balance to Minn-Erva where we want her to be better. And I think some of this comes from the fact that her numbers could be tuned up. And then I think she's also still a little too slow. I think we need to find ways to get her abilities to come up more often than they do right now. So this is Minn-Erva. I'll show you a couple of teams that she works on. So of course, obviously, we have the Kree team right here, you know. Minions, they're here. What you would do most of the time, what I used to do for Blitz is you could do something like Minn-Erva, Ronan, Ultimus, Karath. I wouldn't put Phyla-Vell in there. She's meant to be on Infinity Watch. And then you could put Captain Marvel in if you don't have anything better to do with her. I think ideally Captain Marvel should have another team in the game. I don't think Captain Marvel is destined to be like she is right now, where she's useless and she doesn't have a team. She's gonna get some kind of team someday, so I don't really view her as a Kree character. I'd like that she has the Kree tech, good theming, but generally you're probably looking at Minn-Erva, Ronan, Ultimus, Karath, and then, you know, pick your minion, whichever one you want to throw in there. The problem with Minn-Erva is all these characters are bad. Ronan, notoriously bad. He's like always been bad since the game came out. Ultimus, he's always been bad. He's been one of the worst characters since he originally released. They buffed him. He was still one of, I mean, Ultimus is like notoriously garbage in this game, especially considering he's the main villain. He's just so bad. Karath, also always been kind of bad. Like, he was not that good when the game first came out. I mean, he was okay because there weren't many other characters, but he still doesn't do that much. So that's a big problem too. Minn-Erva's faction is garbage. She does not have a lot of support. She was the best character of the group. You know, she was holding them up. Now that she's not that good, this team completely crumbles because she was the only thing keeping that team going. Another team that was kind of interesting, similar to what I showed you with the Captain America video, we had a team that was not necessarily based on tags, but it was kind of a funny team. It was called the Best Kree Team, or the BKT team. So let me show you that. So I have that team saved here. Look at that. There's Old Man Logan. I got him. So I saved it right here. So this is roughly what it would look like. This was like a very standard team back in the day for like raids, or mostly raids. That's what people were using this for, because Thanos can give energy whenever you'd kill somebody. At the time, Star-Lord gives out energy. Rocket Raccoon was at the time one of the highest damage dealers, and then Groot had he had a decent amount of survivability for the team, and then Minn-Erva was like the best healer in the game. So this was like a very common 5-piece team that you would see being used. They vaguely shared synergy because of their cosmic traits, which is cool. I like that this team worked. It's unfortunate that this kind of thing does not exist in the modern day, and it's kind of funny because the Best Kree team only has Minn-Erva and then the rest of the team is not Kree. So that's kind of the joke with it, is that Minn-Erva is the only good Kree. So this was like a standard team you would see Minn-Erva in, and brings back some nostalgia seeing this team on the screen right now. So anyways, let's hop over to the PowerPoint. Let's dive deep into Minn-Erva's kit, or deep dive into Minn-Erva's kit. Minn-Erva's passive is on an ally death, she fills her speed bar by 25%. This is not bad. This is good because conceptually she has a revive in her kit. So it makes sense that when somebody dies, you want her to get a turn so she could revive them. I don't think this is 25%. What's that going to do for you? And her revive has a super long cooldown. So we'll delve into how I want to fix that later on. And on enemy death, she heals the most injured non-summon ally for 15% of this character's max health. So really good right there, because it's 15% of her max health. It's not like a flat number. So this allows her to scale really well, because it gets better and better the more you build her up. As we'll talk about later, her stats are horrible. Back in the day, they used to be good. Now they're horrible. So a lot of these percentage-based attacks are not that useful anymore. But conceptually, I do like that on enemy death. This basic attack is a nothing attack right here. She's applying bleed, regeneration, who cares? Bleed and regeneration are like the least exciting effects in the game. This special is pretty good. So she'll heal the most injured ally for 5,000 health, which, boo, 5,000 health, like that's useless. But it does do 15% of this character's max health. Honestly, get rid of that 5,000 health and maybe make it 20% of this character's max health. But I have a different change for the special. As you can see, the scaling is what makes this revive pretty good. She'll generate ability energy to a random Kree ally, which conceptually is good. It's bad because the Kree team is garbage. Who cares that Ultimus gets an energy, you know? But really important here, she'll revive a dead ally with 40% max health, plus give them some death boost. So this is a revive. The most important thing here is she is reviving a dead teammate. Her ultimate is what kept her in the meta for so long. This is incredible. She'll steal 15% health from all enemies and redistribute it to all allies. And this was also one of the first skills that bypasses heal block. Nowadays, tons of stuff bypasses heal block. You know, Ebony Maw does it. Other characters do it that I can't name right now. But this was one of the first healing abilities that ignored heal block. So essentially, she could always heal you, which this is really good. And it was probably the most massive heal in the game, because it 15% of max. I mean, she was like the Dark Dimension character for years, because it'd be like, look, what you're going to do is you're going to send Phoenix and Minn-Erva out there and just do their percentage-based attacks and just keep doing that till you win. She'll apply regeneration, who cares? Bleed, who cares? Deflect decree, who cares? But really, stealing 15% of max health from all enemies is incredible. I think we could buff it up a little bit more to recapture how incredible this used to be. But this is a really good ability. I don't want you guys to underestimate like how impressive this ability used to be. So here's some pros for her. She scales well, percentage based. Enemies can get stronger. She's still going to do about as well against them. And if you level her up, she'll do even better. I like the Kree team. I think that is a interesting team. I enjoy seeing some B tier characters, you know, like I like that Karath and Ultimus are in this game. It's unfortunate that they're garbage, but I like the fact they're here. I enjoy the idea of a Kree team, and I like the fact that Minn-Erva got into this game, because she was not that important in the Captain Marvel movie. Like, she just was kind of there. And honestly, the most impressive thing I've ever heard of the Minn-Erva character doing is her performance in Marvel Strike Force. So I think that's kind of cool. I like Minn-Erva being in here. I think she's well designed. She looks really cool. The particle effects on her are incredible. She's all around a really cool character. Now the problem is she's outdated, and the Kree team's outdated. And I think while her kit is really good, she is such a glass cannon. She does not get to do anything in the modern day. I mean, you would be lucky if Minn-Erva makes it to her ultimate, or to revive an enemy. You know, she's not going to revive anybody because she's going to die first, you know, in the modern day of Marvel Strike Force. So something kind of cool I did here is I'm going to talk about the future, but then I went beyond that. I'm going to show you how I want to revise some of her skills. So the future, as I did with Falcon, I was about to say Captain Falcon. I'm thinking of Super Smash Bros. Multiverses comes out in a couple days. Anyways, 214 health. So when she's healing people based on her health, like, that's not that good, because her health is really bad. You know, she's in like the bottom 30% of characters in this game. So actually that makes it a really bad healing, because her health has not scaled proportionally to the newer characters that come out with even more health. She's also really slow. Like, she's an incredibly slow character. So once you use this revive in the ultimate with Minn-Erva, what's she doing? She's sitting around. She's gonna wait. Maybe if you're lucky, you'll get the ultimate off again in Dark Dimension or something like that. But she's super duper slow. So there's not a lot going for her once she uses her ultimate and her special. So this is an interesting idea, because you know, a lot of other characters I'm like, oh, just double their stats. But, you know, Minn-Erva scales off of the health. So it's really, you have to be careful, because very quickly Minn-Erva could become too good for this game. And you always have to account for the fact, some people are like, this character's too good. We need to think about, they're going to put it on an enemy node eventually, and then it's going to be too strong for us to fight. We have to accept the fact every gameplay concept is going to be explored eventually. At some point in time, it is going to be on a node. You know, there's no avoiding it. So, you know, some of the stuff I might suggest with Minn-Erva, like too strong, like we don't want that on an enemy node. Well, if Minn-Erva doesn't get this buff, they're going to introduce somebody else that's going to do that much. It might be Professor X or something like that someday. And at least Minn-Erva is very accessible. Another unfortunate thing here is there are not a lot of other Kree characters. About the only one I could think of is Mar-Vell. You know, that's it. That could maybe be eventually the 5th character for the team, and then that could take place of one of the minions, and the minions could just be destined to, you know, sit in the bottom of the garbage can with all the other minions, which is I imagine the developers' plan eventually. Another chance I think they could take to kind of have an exciting rework to the Kree team would be the Supreme Intelligence. I would love to have this is not just me. Tons of people would love large bosses in this game, like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes has, where it's like this enormous, you know, monster, and you're attacking. Like in that game, it has the whatever that big thing is that lives in the pit or something like that. That weird looking monster. Star Wars has that, or like a big mech. I think it'd be cool if we had the Supreme Intelligence and we would attack the Supreme Intelligence as a big boss. And maybe like he has those pipes sending like that green goo that he floats in, and like maybe you have to destroy those pipes before you can actually attack the Supreme Intelligence himself, and maybe try to like crack the case or something like that, and then he summons out Kree minions to protect him. I think it'd be kind of cool. So I'm just trying to give ideas of like when are the Kree gonna ever get looked at again? Because the Kree do not do anything. So, you know, just trying to throw a couple ideas out there of like you know, maybe some stuff that could come to the game, and conveniently they could rework some of the Kree characters around then. Let's take a look at her passive. Here's a big idea on enemy death, gain and energy. This is big. You know, this is already an enormous change to her kit. That ultimate is incredible, and that revive is incredible too. The problem is she just does not get to them that much. She's a glass cannon, and I think we want to still keep her very glass cannon like, because we don't want her health to be too high. So I'd say let's just let these things happen more frequently. She already does play off of this gimmick of people dying, and then she benefits the team, so let's lean into that, and she gets some energy for herself. I mean, she's a villain. She's giving it to herself. You know, she's not giving it to other people. Here's the basic attack. I'd revise this so a lot of her kit plays off of percentage-based stuff. So instead of just dealing flat damage, I think it'd be cool if she attacks people for percentage of their max health or something like that. I think that would fit into the theming of Minn-Erva's kit much better, and like this would be pretty good. You know, like Minn-Erva would actually be dealing a decent amount of damage here. This would just be a good skill. I think somebody should get this skill in the game. This should be somebody's basic attack. Now here's their special. The only thing I changed here is I decreased the cooldown by 1 to make it 4. I was tempted to decrease the cooldown to 3, but since she's getting that energy every time somebody dies, I think taking it down to 4 is already going to make it pretty good. So I just think she needs to get the revive up a little bit more often. I think it is, she gets like 1 revive off maybe a battle, and that's about it. I'd love to see some more revives. Not to mention, this is a more consistent way for her to heal people, because that ultimate is very infrequent, but this allows her to heal somebody, and she's only healing one character, so like, you know, let's let her do that a couple more times in battle. The ultimate is pretty much perfect as is. I wouldn't decrease the cooldown. It's this big attack. It deserves to have a long cooldown. It's this big moment. The only thing I'd say steal 25% of health. I consider 30%. I think 25% is plenty, but I think that would make this ultimate threatening again. Like this would make her relevant in Dark Dimension in a ton of modes, and I don't know. I just think that would be just this little change here. I think that would be enough to up her numbers. Of course, she is going to need some changes to her speed and her health, but you know, I don't know how they calculate those stat percentages they want to increase kits by. I can just do these the stuff that you see written out in front of you, and I think with these changes we'd get to see the theming of percentage based gimmicks come through better in her kit, and then this would also catch her up to the modern day. So that's been my deep dive on Minn-Erva. Again, a great character, used to be the best character in the game for years, and I think with just some slight tweaks to Minn-Erva's kit, she could rise back up to be as good as she used to be. I'd love that. I think she's a super duper cool character. I think the unfortunate thing is, like, when are they ever going to look at Minn-Erva again? Like, when is the opportunity going to come around to rework Korath or Minn-Erva? They only really rework characters when they have a new team coming out or something like that. And Minn-Erva is like a D tier Marvel character. Like, you know, so I don't foresee opportunities of these characters conveniently getting reworked when other new characters are coming out. The only way the Kree is going to get reworked is if the devs say we are going to rework the Kree, maybe with a Supreme Intelligence boss. I think that'd be pretty cool. I'm just saying, throwing that out there. But you know, at the end of the day, what do I really know? I'm just a 22-year-old. Hope you all have a nice day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.